Hello, hello, and thank you so much for checking in today. Today I want to talk about something that is really critically important. And people talk about time management a lot, but I think in the grand scheme of things, we will plan ourselves into the ground and really not have, logistically not have the time and the focus to truly follow up on all of that stuff. And so what I find in my own personal goal setting is that I dream of having so much time for this and so much time for that, and really devoting this much time to work every day and this much time to my passion projects, and easy for me to say, and this much time to quality family time, and this much time to, taking care of myself and making sure my health is good, and this much time to fitness, and this much time to Bible study, and this much time to reading a book a day, and this much, all of these things. But realistically, I cannot fulfill that kind of time obligation to myself, and I cannot realistically fulfill all of those goals all at once. And so what I would like to do is I'm going to use this calendar board that I use every week. I designed this myself years ago, and it has been so useful to me. And so I'm just going to use this as because each one of these blocks represents 1 hour, and so I'm just going to use it for the sake of example. But in my ideal world, I would like to lay out how many hours my day would require in order to truly fulfill all of the goals that I have currently for my time. And then from there, we're going to focus on how you can do that as well. I encourage you to really take a hard look at how much time your ideal day would really require, because when we don't fulfill these goals, when we get thrown off by not being able to fulfill these goals, we get disheartened, we get discouraged, and that is when doubt and we let ourselves down, and that's totally not fair. Because once this is all said and done, you will see that for me personally, to fulfill all of my goals, I will need a really extensive day and a lot of coffee. So let's just go for it. I just kind of wrote stuff down at random. These are in no particular order whatsoever, but we're just going to do it for the sake of filling our time up so that we can see how many hours in the day I would require to fulfill all of my current goals. So first and foremost, I work for a family business, and ideally, because I do all of our design work, and we do jewelry for law enforcement and fire personnel, badge jewelry, corporate logo things, family crest items. We do a lot of fine jewelry items, and almost exclusively these items are completely custom, and I am the designer of the family as well as my father's right hand. So it requires a lot of time, and it requires a lot of focus, and it's time and focus that I don't always necessarily have, and I'm not always really great at devoting. The work always gets done, but sometimes it is tough to carve out the hours. But in an ideal world, I would devote 10 hours a day to our business, to Houston Badge Company. So I'm going to say HBC. So this is a 24-hour, this row and this slot is 24 hours. Okay, fitness is a big deal. Right now I am lucky to get a 30-minute workout, but I also have to allow for commuting time back and forth, and that all counts. If you work a 10-hour day, and I am blessed to be able to work from home, but if you work a 10-hour day, but you also have an hour-long commute on each side, as I did whenever I used to work in Fort Worth, even though I think I only worked like 12 miles from my office, I would end up just stuck in traffic, and that's just how it would work. And so, that 10-hour day quickly becomes a 12-hour day, or that 8-hour day quickly becomes a 9 or 10 hour day. And those are the things that we don't always remember when we think, oh, I work this. And you have to remember that really, whether you are sitting at your desk for 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, that job is still requiring a little bit more time because you still have a commute if you have a commute. So I'm going to say 30 minutes for fitness plus 15 minutes on either side to get to and from the gym. And I know there are a lot of people who work out more than that. I also have a morning routine that just kind of goes in with my beauty routine. So right now I'm happy. Right now I'm thrilled if I get 30 minutes a day to work out. So this is my ideal world right now, 30 minutes. Okay, I would also in my ideal world really love to sleep 7 or 8 hours a night. That's just, 7's a really good number for me. I find that if I get 8, I'm usually a little sluggish because it's almost too much, crazy. But just think of how rested and beautiful and glowing my face would be. I know it's all about the face, but I just think of how wonderful I feel when I'm truly, truly rested. And so I'm going to say 7 for the sake of our board, but ideal world, 7 or 8 hours of sleep every single night because a girl can dare to dream. Now, you see how much our board is already filling up. This is already almost a full 24-hour day, and all we've done is work out, and sleep. That's all we've accomplished so far. You good? Yes. Okay. So, next, passion projects, because whether it's something like a side business that you are building and creating, whether it's an involved hobby, whether you like to work on cars or whether you like to quilt or whether you like to paint or write or whatever your passion is, whatever your passion project is that keeps you motivated and going, and kind of one of those things that if your work doesn't make you just lose time when you're doing it, then your passion project is what's doing that. So my passion project is this channel. My passion project is painting and creating and documenting, and I love to write, and I love to plan for things to put on this channel, and I love the community of the social network that revolves around the content that I'm putting out. And so that is my passion project. Now, as you look through my videos, you notice that my passion project hasn't been getting a whole lot of passion lately. And you know what? That's why I'm doing this right now. It's so that I don't beat myself up, because realistically speaking, if the time hasn't been there, the time just hasn't been there, and the time has to come from somewhere. So ideally, 5 to 8 hours a day would be spent just on speaking to you, creating content, showing you the things that I love and am passionate about, and sharing more DIY projects, sharing more incredible books that I come across, sharing more reviews of products and software and recipes and all of the different really cool things that I'm passionate about that I enjoy sharing with you. So I'm going to say, for the sake of this board, 5 hours, but just know it's 5 to 8. It's 5 to 8. But let's start small. We've reached 23 hours already, and we haven't made it very far. Okay, I'm going to say passion, because if I put PP, it might be awkward. Okay, so the next on my list, and I'm sure that many of you can relate to this, although I work from home, I do still spend a minimum of 2 hours every day commuting. How, you ask? Well, when you have a child who doesn't drive but works full-time, somebody has to drive that kiddo back and forth to their job. And I'm super proud of my middle child, who works full-time and is also in senior year of high school and also works part-time for another job. I mean, it's just incredible. Always had just such an entrepreneur spirit and just such a hard worker. But for the sake of our board, I cannot forget, as my time is ticking away each day, that I spend at least 2 hours a day on the road. So I'm going to go on and just say up here, I'm going to say drive, and I've got to start on my second 24-hour block now. So now just remember, that's just a minimum. So when, say, my youngest daughter's soccer season starts up, then not only is soccer practice, an hour long, but it also takes a full 15 minutes to get there. And really, I usually allow 30 minutes on the front end, so we're not wheeling up at the last minute before practice. You can understand that. So, when soccer practice comes around, then I'm going to have to allow at least another 2 hours twice a week for that. Plus games, it's all of that. Now, beauty routine, because I'm female and it's okay for me to require a shower, require my hair to be done, require my makeup. I like to do things that make me feel good. It's not for everyone, it's not for every female, and not every female takes the same amount of time to get ready. But I'm allowing 2 to 3 hours a day, which sounds completely excessive, especially considering I always essentially look like this. But it sounds excessive, but I'm talking morning and evening. I'm talking getting ready and tearing down at the end of the night. So, 2 to 3 hours. I'm saying 3 because let's be realistic here. 2 to 3 hours for beauty. I mean, we have to shave our legs, we have to do our nails, we have to pluck things. It's exhausting. It's just exhausting, but I wouldn't trade it. Okay. 3 meals a day don't magically happen, and when you're a mom, when you are a single mom, when you are a single mom with a lot of children, and when you're a single mom with a lot of children that you don't necessarily want to turn loose in the kitchen every day, you allow a good 2 to 3 hours just for meals and meal prep. Now that counts. I do a lot of kind of group meal prep and things like that. I try to utilize my time as efficiently as possible, despite what this is showing so far. But realistically speaking, 3 meals a day, because, mama's got to eat, plus dinner, which is always, kind of our bigger meal whenever we're all sitting down together, I'm allowing 3 hours a day for meals. Okay, so this is kind of a funny one. Not everyone will be able to relate to this, but your list is going to look different than mine, and that's totally cool. But I put a little notation, a few hours a day for flirting, because again, I'm a single mom. And single moms, by golly, we need to flirt a little bit. Now, that might be, 20 minutes here and 5 minutes here, and it's just all over the board all day long. But the block of time still gets eaten up, whether it's all at once in nice little neat blocks, or if it's throughout the day and it's, kind of the distraction all day long, which I have a whole other post about, because distraction and multitasking is just kind of a dangerous thing. But we're not going to go there right now. So I'm going to say, and I know this sounds, again, like the beauty routine, it sounds excessive to say, in my ideal world, I would flirt 2 hours a day. But you know what I mean. Talking to potential, dates, or setting things up, or, being on a dating app, because we are in the time period that we are in, and just kind of living that out. And it's not 2 hours every single day, but we're just talking on average. Flirt. Should have just put a heart. There we go. Heart on the eye. Reading. So, I love to read. I love to read not only to review books for this channel and for my website, but I just love to read. So, at least an hour a day in my ideal world for reading. Plus, that way I have something to talk about whenever I'm flirting with all these boys for 2 hours a day. Okay, here's a biggie. So friend time and then family time. So friend time, we'll go there first because it's easier to, kind of push the friend time aside because the family time's kind of built in. Sometimes the family time feels like it's just being robbed from you even. Not to make it sound negative, but sometimes between homework and school projects and spirit nights and games and all of this stuff, it's like your evenings kind of get eaten up and your weekends kind of get eaten up almost without your permission sometimes. It's like, why is this adulting thing happening to me right now? Who invited all these children here? So I'm going to say friend time first because realistically we know that there are some weeks that we don't even get any time with our friends because we're so busy with all of the other things that are filling our worlds. So in my ideal world, maybe doing 2 things a week outside of the home that are friend based would just be amazing. It would just be wonderful. And so I'm going to say, if each one of those was, okay, say my girlfriend Heather and I want to go to Fort Worth and want to have dinner and maybe drinks, or we want to go dancing, which is something that we did recently. It takes almost an hour to drive there. It takes almost an hour to drive back. Say we have dinner and drinks for the sake of time. That's still a good 5-hour chunk of time. Do that twice a week or do something similar, or go to a symphony with another friend and go to dinner and the symphony, and that's 5, 6, 7 hours by the time it's all said and done. Plus, commuting and all this. Not that everyone lives almost, 30 to 45 minutes from the city, but you just have to keep all of that in mind. Maybe you like to do backyard barbecuing, maybe you like to do football game watching, whatever your thing is it certainly applies to you. But I'm saying if I spent 2 times a week with doing friend activities, then in my ideal day, that would be, I'm going to say for the sake of balance that would be like 14 hours because that's a lot. I was going to say 10, but I'm trying to make it a nice, neat picture to where it would be like 14 hours per week, which would be about 2 hours a day. It would be an average. So just for the sake of argument and for a nice, neat, table here and not having to do fractions, we're gonna do 2 hours a day for friend time. So then we come to family time. Now, my family time essentially runs from the time that my daughter gets off the bus, the youngest gets off the bus, which is, about 3:30, until about bedtime, which is about 8:30 or 9. It's a lot of family time. I mean, again, that a lot of time gets, the dinner to the meal time gets caught in with that, and even my bedtime routine is in on that time. There are bits and pieces that come out of that time that it's not fair to call it 5, 6, 7 hours of family time, but you're here, you're doing stuff, you're living life, and you're doing things. I'm going to say 5 hours a night of family time because there's also morning get ready prep time that counts as family time also. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I'm counting everything. I'm just looking at my list. Yeah. I really like to also include, time to plan for the next day and plan for the coming week. On Sunday evenings, I like to plan for the coming week. And in the evenings before I shut down for good for the evening, I like to at least look over what the next schedule is going to be, the next day looks like for me, make sure there's not any last minute things that I've forgotten, but also just to mentally prepare myself. But I just want to look. So this is 24 hours plus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. This is a 41-hour day. My ideal day needs 41 hours. My ideal day needs 41 hours. It is no stinking wonder that at the end of every single day, I feel defeated in some way for all that I didn't accomplish. You know, maybe I didn't devote as much time as I really, really needed to our family business. Maybe I didn't get a workout in. I always feel like a failure when I don't get my workout in. And it's a 1 hour block of time, but geez, there's just sometimes it just doesn't happen. I don't feel like a failure so much when I don't get sleep, but I'm sure my kids wish that I would get more sleep, and really my work too, because you know, when you're sleep deprived, you just don't operate as well. You lose track of memories, you can't find the words for things, that kind of thing. Passion project. Again, you can see through looking through the channel and the different posts I've put up and how inactive I've been for quite a while, that passion project has been really, really back burner for me lately. And that's sad, because whenever it's a passion project, it's something that you are really passionate about and it's really important to you. So clearly I have felt a real sting in my heart that I have not been devoting this kind of time to my passion project. Little did I know that I would require a 41-hour day in order to be able to really pull it all off. Drive time, I don't feel like a failure whenever I don't get that in, because quite honestly I don't get that option. Beauty, you know, there are some days when I don't wash my face as thoroughly as I should, and that's just a shame. Mealtime, everybody knows, moms, sometimes we just phone it in. I bought a pizza for lunch today because I was phoning it in. Flirt time, clearly, you know, dating, getting to know people. If you're not single, then, you know, your list might look more like quality time with your husband or quality time with your girlfriend or whatever your situation is. Reading time, there's a lot of nights when I don't get to read. I love to read first thing in the morning, or I love to read in the evenings as I'm winding down, and I just don't always get it done, and I don't sleep as well as a result. I mean, like, this and sleep just go hand in hand, not because my reading puts me to sleep, but because it takes me out of this digital mindset that I live in all day long between, you know, online flirting and work and all of the in-between. And then friend and family time, you know, when you aren't giving these people your focus, you do feel like you're letting someone down or letting many people down, and that's always painful, and you always feel it. So I just kind of I encourage you to do this kind of exercise as well. I encourage you to really take a hard look at yourself and your day and your goals and see how attainable they truly are, because it may be that we need to each take a really hard look at what our days look like, where our priorities are, where we wish, the areas that we wish that we were spending our time versus the reality of how we're spending our time. I like to, my calendar book I always like the ones that are laid out by hour. This one doesn't go as early or as late as I would like. It starts at 7 a.m. and it ends at 7:30 p.m. and I'm like, well, whose day is that? I don't know what you're talking about. But, you know, I like to document for myself not only what's planned, but how it's actually being spent, so that I know at the end of the day what categories I really what categories I allowed to slip through the cracks, because I need that reality check quite a bit to help me stay on track. That's how I help myself be more attentive to my goals and the things that are important to me. So I encourage you to look at this. I encourage you to look at your own life. I encourage you to sit down for 10-20 minutes. Here. There you go. 10-20 minutes, and I want you to realize for yourself. I want you to go through your day. I want you to go through your priorities, and I want you to do this kind of thing and figure out why you're failing if you're failing at some of your goals, why you're putting so much pressure on yourself to be a million different things to a million different people in a million different ways, why your ideal work day maybe needed to be 41 hours or 52 hours or 36 hours or however long your ideal day is. And then let's pare it down. Let's look at this reasonably. Let's see where we can cut, because the goal is to get a ton done, to be super efficient with our time, but also not to feel like we're constantly chasing our tails and not getting anywhere. We're here for forward motion. We're here for momentum and productivity and taking care of business. So I want you to do this. I encourage you to do this. It is an eye-opening experience. And then later on, we will go into different ways to utilize this kind of information and the pared down version and the updated kind of goal list. You know, you need to update your goals to fit reality and what you actually have on your plate. So I encourage you to do this. I thank you for hanging in there with me. I know that this was kind of a wordy kind of day, but it's important to me that you have a very clear picture in your head as to how you spend your time, as to how you would like to be spending your time, and how we can make those two things come together for the greater good of efficiency and productivity and just badassery. So, thank you so much for tuning in today. Until I see you again, I hope that you are making it a great day.